I'm not putting it up here because now I'm reading both the main light and the slash light. So if I bring it to the back, now I'm just getting the slash as it's coming across the face. So that right there is also 5/6. Now, what I'm going to do in this case, a slash light is an arbitrary light. You can make it brighter, you can make it a stop down, you could make it 2 stops down if you just want to have a hint of it. But I'm really looking for a tough kind of a look right now, so I'm going to have the slash light be the same amount of power as my main light. So when you see the pictures, you'll see that this is going to be very hot, it's going to be very bright, but again, that's for the emphasis. Okay, so now I think I'm ready to do some photos. Okay, so when I'm working with Douglas here, what I'm going to be doing is doing some fine tuning on exactly where his face is moving to. Turn your face this way a little bit. Okay, that's excellent. And I'd like your body to turn towards the light a little bit more. Move your foot, there you go. That's good. And we keep that angle going. That's really great right there. Chin up a little bit. The reason that I have his chin up is because I don't want to lose the light in his eyes. But if I want to do something that's a little tougher, Douglas, drop your chin a little bit and tilt a little bit like this. When I do that, you see that I've lost the light in his eyes right now, so it makes him a little bit more mysterious, but it still is a great kind of a look. Now I'm going to move over here and I'm going to turn your face over this way a little bit and bring your chin up a little bit more, and that little bit of a tilt. Tilt back this way again, just a touch, and chin up a little more, okay? When I'm over here, from this angle, now he has more of a loop light on him, so he's much brighter lit, but I still have that slash over on the side with the dark shadow. But with the chin up and bring it up a little bit more, now the light is really in his eyes. And let's have that little smile. Great, and a little bit more head tilt and chin up again. That's it. I got to get that light in the eyes. Beautiful. That's terrific. I want you to sit up just a little bit straighter. This is a little bit more of a 3/4 posing. Okay, this is really great. This is very angular. Chin up a tiny little bit more and a little bit of smile. Excellent. Okay, that's wonderful. One of the most common questions that I get asked is, what size light do I need? That's a really excellent question. There's a general rule, and that is that the size of the light source should be proportional to the size of your subject and should be about the same distance away. So in other words, if I'm doing a headshot of somebody, I'm covering about this much. Therefore, I should have a light source that's about this big, which is about the size of that umbrella, and the distance should be about that far away, which it is right now. What this does is it's really utilizing the best quality of that light. One of the most common problems that people make when they first come into the studio and they're working with light is they either have the light too far away or too high. I want to show you a little demonstration right now that what happens when you take the light too far away. Right now I'm using a white umbrella, which is a very soft light. So you think, okay, that's a soft light. Watch what happens. Right now the light is in the loop light position. So when I take it all the way back, then what happens is that it still is in the loop light position. It's a big, broad, white, soft umbrella, but there's a total difference in the quality of light that's on her face. Because the light's further away, it's more of a pinpoint light source. So now what happens to her skin tones as I bring the light in? It's really amazing. Look how beautiful her skin tones are now that the light is back in the proper distance away from her. Right now I'm going to light Rachel with a white umbrella. The white umbrella is your most standard basic tool. Everybody needs to have white umbrellas. It's a very versatile tool. One of the things you need to understand about this is that it's a bounced light. The light head is pointed directly into the umbrella, which is parabolic in shape. What happens is the light then spreads out and it kind of wraps around the subject. The spread is actually about 140 degrees, so it covers a huge area. This is really good for lighting groups of people as well as individuals because that spread is so wide. And because it's white, it has a beautiful skin tone quality to it. It's really good for lighting skin, making the skin look smoother in appearance. So right now I have Rachel in the loop light position with that white umbrella coming and wrapping around. It falls off very gently, so it goes into a very feathered kind of a shadow. There isn't a quick drop off, and it wraps around very quickly. The next thing I'm going to do, because Rachel has dark and textured hair, is I'm going to put on the grid spot. I would like to show you there are several different sizes of grid spots. There's a 20, a 30, and a 40. There are differences in the sizes of the holes, and this controls how much spread you have. To light up Rachel's hair, a 40 degree would cover too much. It would light up her whole shoulder and down the side. I don't really want to do that. I'm not going to use a 40. A 20 might be too small. It might just make a small little spot right here. So in this case, I think I'm going to use a 30 degree grid. Okay, and there we have the hair light. Now, I'm going to raise it up a little bit. You can see that move around a little bit. There we go. So I definitely want to get some texture in Rachel's hair. Now the background, I'm using a silver umbrella. The silver umbrella is much brighter. Okay, it puts a lot more light out. And what the silver umbrella is going to do, it's going to intensify the color. Whenever you add silver to your lighting material, several things happen. It's brighter, it reflects more light, so your f-stop is going to be a higher f-stop. It's going to saturate the color more. It's going to give you more detail as well. It has the ability to penetrate the surface to be able to pull out more texture. The position that I have this in right now, I'm doing a cross again where I have one side is brighter than the other. The light is going to fall off so that the light side is on the dark side of Rachel, and then the darker side of the background will be on the lighter side of Rachel. But with the umbrella, as opposed to a spotlight, I have a much broader, softer coverage of that background. So this is another variation of the three-light setup, but this is a softer, gentler look. Now the last thing that I need to do here is to add my fill, because again, without putting in another light source, my shadows are going to be a little bit too dark. Now with African American skin, you basically light the same way that you do with a Caucasian person. There really isn't much difference, although you do want to watch out for highlights, make sure that people are powdered, and lots of times it's good if you open up a third or a half a stop. If you open up that little bit, the skin tones just get nice and creamy and it just looks a little bit better. Now I'm going to bring in the reflector. This reflector has a white side and a gold side. In this case, I'm looking for a nice warm feeling from Rachel, so I'm putting the gold side in. Now, what happens here is the light comes and it bounces against the gold reflector and then fills in over here. So you can see that now the shadow side is filled in quite a bit because that adds more light than the white does, but also what happens is that it warms it up. So it's actually really a nice warm feeling. People always look better a little bit warm. You'd rather have somebody warm than you would cool. So now I'm going to take a picture. When I metered this situation, the main light is f8, the hair light is a half a stop down from that, it's 5, 6.5, and the background is 5, 6. Again, this falls within my general rule about most of my accessory lights are a half a stop to a stop less than what my main light is. So again, I'm looking for nice smooth tones. The background is a medium blue, and we like to have that little bit more depth to it. If it's too bright, it's not going to work well with the color of her shirt. So I'm ready to go. And Rachel, that's beautiful, nice, lovely smile. I'd like you to tip your head just a little bit like this. And yes, closed lip smile, that's lovely. Take a deep breath and relax. Nice. And just do a very relaxed grin now. Ah. We've reset with a different kind of umbrella. This is a shoot-through umbrella. What this is a convertible umbrella where you can take off the backing, and now you have a diffusion material. In this case, the light is pointed through the umbrella instead of bouncing into it. So we have a level of diffusion here, which creates a slightly different effect than the white umbrella. The white umbrella has the wraparound because it's bounced, where this is coming through. you can see by the edge of this that the light is actually going out in all directions, which actually is beneficial to bounce off ceilings and walls if you're in a small space. It kind of gives you a natural fill. But in this case, it's giving us beautiful skin tones. It's, again, this diffusion does something a little bit different than the bounced white. Whenever you add diffusion to a light source, it does something very specific to the light. It will take the highlights and soften them down a little bit. It does spread out a little bit as well, but it mainly takes those highlights and brings them down. So it still gives you beautiful skin tones. So we're now ready to go. We have this set at the same light level as the white umbrella was. That's f8. We have the hair light at 5, 6.5, and the background light at 5, 6, so that's one stop less. And the gold reflector is still in the same position, so we're getting nice, warm shadows. So Rachel, here we go again. It's nice, relaxed smiles. Take a deep breath, and beautiful. That's lovely. Straighten your head a little bit, and chin up just a tiny little bit, and tilt your head back this way a little. That's very nice. I'd like you to tip your head back this way again and turn your face towards this way just a little bit. Beautiful. Little bit of smile, yeah. And let's do one more with a nice, soft, relaxed grin, no teeth. Take a deep breath. Lovely. One more big smile. We got to get a big smile. That's great. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to open this up now to 3/4 and full-length posing and lighting. When you broaden out your shot, it's a whole new dimension in terms of the size of your light source as well as the setup that you're working with. We're going to start off with the 3/4 length posing. When you're talking about doing 3/4, it could be cropped here, it could be cropped here, it actually could be cropped a little bit below the knee. So in photography, you want to make sure that you don't crop off at somebody's waist or at their knees, at their joints. Crop in between. You never want to have anybody standing straight up and down the way that Melissa and I are right now, because basically all we are is vertical lines. Okay? It doesn't look very attractive, and it's not very compositionally pleasing. So the easiest thing to do for 3/4 length posing is to move one leg back and keep one leg forward. And what this does, as soon as you put the weight on the back leg, that starts to make an S curve in the body. So right away, that makes a nice, more flowing line. And then Melissa, I want you to put one hand up. Okay, so now we've brought in another dimension, and now bring it down and put it on your thigh. Bend your elbow just a little bit. Okay, so you can do these fine tunings by just slight movements of the arms. Also be very careful when you have bare arms. The arms attract a lot of light, therefore they become a very strong part of your composition. All right, now we're going to look at the light. So we are going to be working full length here. This means that we have a huge amount of light, keeping in mind that the size of the light source should be proportional to the size of the subject. So now we have a giant softbox. We have a big box here. Remember, the box light is even light. Unlike the umbrella that spreads around, the box light is even pretty much top to bottom, side to side. Where the light hits, it's very, very soft light, but it does fall off fairly quickly. So it goes into shadow quickly, but it still has a soft edge to it. So right now, we have this beautiful light that is lighting her pretty evenly top to bottom. I'm going to take a series of light meter readings now so that you can see how the fall off is going. So we start at the face, which is also the most important, and that is F8 exactly. If I drop it down to her waist, I am still at F8. When I come down to her knee, I'm at 5/6 and 6/10. And when I come down to her ankle, it still is about 5/6 and 4/10. So I really only have about a half a stop fall off from the top to the bottom, which when you look at that visually, you hardly notice that there's any difference on that at all. You always want to have the main light be on the face. That's the most important part. Okay, I'm ready to shoot. When you're shooting full length, it's really important that you have the correct camera perspective and the correct focal length. When you come in and you shoot at eye level and widen your lens out, you actually have to take the camera and tilt it down a little bit in order to see top to bottom on the person. When you do that, that means that the head is closer to the camera and the feet are further away. It creates the illusion of squishing down. So what you need to do is keep your longer focal length, about 85 to 105, and get further away and have your camera height be no higher than waist level. If you come down a little bit lower than that, then you're looking up a little bit and you actually elongate the person, making them feel a little bit taller than they really are, which is much more pleasing. So I'm going to come all the way over here. Melissa, that looks lovely. I would like you to take your right leg and move it over here just a little bit. Spread it out to the side just a touch. That's it. You see what a beautiful curve just happened in her body when she just did that? That's stunning. You look beautiful. I'd like you to take your right hand and also place it on your thigh and then bring, oh, actually that looks really good. Let's leave that right there. Bring your right hand up to your hip. Beautiful. Turn your face into the light. Just a little bit of a smile. Okay, and now I'd like you to throw back your head and laugh. Ha ha ha, that's gorgeous. Sometimes in location photography, you don't have a lot of time to be able to get the shot you want. And sometimes you also don't have power outlets available for you. When we first came into the studio, we saw this great spiral staircase and we said, this is perfect. We'll put Melissa in a summer dress, have her come down, and we can get this shot done in about 5 minutes. We decided to use the travel light with the battery pack. This battery pack will work with either the 750 or the 375. We've got the sunlight reflector on here. Have her in the 45-degree angle, and we're pretty well ready to go. You do need to understand when you work with the battery pack that you don't have the ability to use the modeling light. The modeling light does have a tendency to take up an awful lot of power, so we'd rather have the power to do the shots than we would do the modeling light. But we're ready. We've already taken a reading. It's 5/6, and Melissa, here we go. We are all set, and I'd like you to go back up, please, and take a couple of steps down. And come on down.